So I'm a personal trainer of over 12 years coaching experience, and 18 months ago I let myself get out of shape. To give you a bit of a backstory, 2.5 years ago I moved to Sydney, me and my beautiful fiance, and it was the first time in many years that I wasn't surrounded by clients, gym, other personal trainers, bodybuilders, and there wasn't that accountability, that external accountability that I had to keep myself in shape, keep myself physically lean, whilst also being able to run. When I first moved over here, I realised that it was going to be difficult being on a work and holiday visa and going straight into being self-employed again. So I decided to go down the corporate route, which worked well. I was in a manager's position in a couple of different gyms. And even though you're still in the fitness industry, when you're not on the floor as a personal trainer, your standards can slip. For the first time in my career, I was sitting at a desk all day, taking calls all day, being on Zoom meetings all day. I wasn't doing too much physical activity. I was locked in an office. Nobody had to see me. I was managing a team. Because I didn't have that accountability of I'm selling myself, I'm selling the energy, my standards started to slip big time. And it wasn't like I was completely unfit. I was still doing a lot of running. I was still training a bit. However, my physique was starting to pay the price. And it wasn't like I just woke up someday and went, oh my God, what happened? I got to get back in shape again. I could see it happening, but I was always telling myself, I'll get back into it after I get this project finished. I'll get back into it after we have this event. I'll get back into it after our engagement party so I can enjoy myself. And it wasn't like that I was not trying throughout those first year or so that I was here. I was trying, but there was always something coming up. There was always just an excuse that I was able to give myself of why I wasn't able to start getting back in shape, getting myself lean, getting my energy back. And for anybody who's a bit younger, in their 20s, who is watching this, when you're in your 20s, time cruises. When you hit your 30s, time goes like that. It feels like it's been 6 months since I was celebrating my 30th birthday. That's how quick it's going. And it was only less than 10 weeks ago I was looking at myself and I'm like, God, I'll be 35 next year. When I was 32, I said I gotta sort myself out. I gotta get my six-pack back. I gotta get my lean physique back that I always used to have as a PT, because when I first started PTing, or even before I got qualified, I always said to myself, it's a PT's job to be in shape, stay in shape, and sell energy. I was not doing any of that. Look, I was busy. I had clients. I was focusing on building my business. But that is still an excuse at the end of the day. My business is still going well and I'm in good shape. I would say it's actually better at the moment. But it was that sudden realization of I've spent 2 years pretty much telling myself that I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to start getting in shape. At some point, I'm going to get in shape. Another 2 years could go by and I'll be 36. 37. That's madness. And see now with social media, you're looking and you're seeing people that weren't in as good a shape as you. They're maybe at the point where they're starting to overtake you. You feel like you're being left behind. That's a mad feeling. That is what a breaking point sort of feeling feels like for somebody who is gradually getting out of shape. And look, I tried it a few times, getting back in shape, keep it tight for 3 weeks, work, just getting busy. I just didn't have enough structure. I suppose you could say I didn't have enough want. There wasn't enough pain to want to force me to change my ways. And I'm sick that I didn't do it sooner. It's madness. And for anybody watching this, if you find yourself in the same position, you are going to have to hit some kind of breaking point where you're like, I gotta get my finger out. I gotta get down to business. I don't want to look or feel like this anymore. And it's crazy how much it can change your life. I think I think that in the last 7 weeks, my whole perspective has changed on the direction that I want to take my business while I'm out here. Just from being good to myself, being good to myself in a way of, it sounds like punishing myself, but being strict. Food's been on point, bar one night of drinking, which left me feeling horrific. Being strict on yourself, training religiously with good structure. The diet is it's immaculate. You're tracking everything to the T. I think diet plans are amazing. You only have to track things once and then just eat the same thing until you're completely sick of it, or until you stop seeing progress. And doing the cardio, having structure, getting leaner. And it's not just about the look. The look is a bonus, it's a byproduct. The energy you get back posting content again, back believing in myself again. And that sounds really corny and cringe and probably a bit sad to say, but when you're out of shape, your focus is gone. And it doesn't matter what career you're in. It doesn't matter what career you're in, it does drop. You can't make sharp, precise decisions, and you can't execute them properly when you've got brain fog. You're looking at yourself like, ugh, I feel like shit. I'm not happy with how I'm looking. But see, once you get your confidence back, that confidence and energy just spreads into every aspect of life. It's absolutely insane. That is really how me getting back in shape over these past 7 to 8 weeks has completely changed my life, changed my perspective. I wish I never give it up. I feel like I've got my mojo back. And look, this happens everybody, especially when you come into your 30s and 40s. You know, whether it's career takes more priority, which fair enough, sometimes it has to. It had to with me. Family takes over. Maybe you're trying to buy a house. Maybe your priorities have just shifted, because when I think back to my early 20s, I was getting in shape. I could dedicate all of my time to it. Fair enough, I gotta work a little bit to live and to go on holidays and things like that, but I could dedicate pretty much 80% of my time to getting lean, looking like an absolute machine. Can't do that now. I can maybe dedicate 30-40%, but that 30-40%, I give that 100% attention. Training locked in, diet locked in, cardio is locked in, mentality locked in, and recovery. The one thing I was neglecting for years, I don't think I've ever actually taken recovery serious, because I've never had to. Locked in. It's mad what you can do in such a short space of time. 8 weeks is not a lot of time. We'll be going into week 8 on Monday. I was going to push it where I do 12 weeks of hard dieting. I don't think I need to do that. I think I can get away with 10 weeks. And the next couple of weeks, I can start to slowly reverse the calories back up again. Still be in a deficit, but that's a video for another time. Look, if you found this video helpful or maybe a little bit inspirational, please subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Oh, that's a beautiful day, boys.